To start off Fight and Revive today, I just wanted to let you know about two things, and I promise this will be quick. First of all, you've seen Luke Boyer and Andrew Rousseau on here before, both getting their own separate interviews. Well, now those two are a part of the Fight and Revive team. They are now our guest analyst panel. Luke has been on one time already as a guest analyst. Andrew will be joining us maybe later in this episode, but at the very least he'll be here very soon. So I wanted to let you know about that. And secondly, our really big announcement, drum roll please, the Fight and Revive website is up. That's right. Go to fightandrevive.com to find this show more accessibly. Is that a word? Doesn't matter. The show is found there with more accessibility. A video player is embedded. You find the podcast embedded. It's super easy to do. There's some about stuff up there. There's a bunch of ways to contact me if you want to get in touch with me with requests for interviews or ideas or anything like that. And also, the big part of the website is there is now a blog up. It takes a lot of time to put together one of these episodes, and as you know, we only do them weekly. I do a lot of YouTube shorts, stuff like that, social media posts, but I only do one or maybe two episodes a week. This is pretty much a semi-weekly show. So I will be posting on there. It's a blog. We have three different sections. We have political news, we have opinion, and we have sports. Now, sports is only going to get the occasional post. I'm a lifelong Redskins fan or football team or Commanders, whatever you want to call them. So I will be posting on there on occasion, but for the most part, it's going to be political news and opinion. Political news, of course, being like what we're about to talk about today, the pro-lifers that were arrested and about to be sentenced in federal court. That's political news, and it's a big story. We're going to get to it. Opinion would be more like something like when I talked to Brad Driscoll about term limits. That's more opinion. That's not something objective. And speaking of which, we are going to be having, it won't even just be me writing. We're going to have some fellow trusted conservatives writing as well to bring you maybe even a different perspective from what I have, but bring you some very good opinion as well, so it's not just my opinion. You can go look at the website. It's up. It's very good looking, if I do say so myself. You'll get to see the different authors on the articles, and that's the big part of the website. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Today, the federal government is getting more and more bold in their encroachment on the rights of Americans, freedom of assembly, and free speech. They've arrested pro-lifers claiming that they violated the FACE Act, which supposedly protects abortion clinics from even being protested against, which it doesn't. We'll get into all that today on Fight and Revive. Stick around. You do not want to miss this. This is a very important story that you need to know.
America is no longer one nation under God. Are you ready to fight for revival? Well, then you've come to the right place. Welcome to Fight and Revive with Adam Boyer.
We start off with a report from the Daily Wire. Nashville. 6 pro-lifers were found guilty on Tuesday after the Biden administration charged them over a peaceful protest at a Tennessee abortion facility in 2021. They face up to 10.5 years in prison. The pro-life activists were accused by the Department of Justice of violating the FACE Act and civil rights conspiracy for a protest that took place on a hallway outside of a Mount Juliet, Tennessee abortion provider on March 5, 2021. On that day, a group of demonstrators gathered on the second floor of an office building in the hallway outside the Care of Him Health Center clinic. The groups prayed, sang hymns, and urged women showing up to the clinic not to get abortions. I want to make it completely clear, they were not inside the clinic. They were not keeping anyone from going inside. They were just encouraging women not to go inside and get the abortions. Very peaceful. They didn't even raise their voices. There was nothing like that. No arguments, no fights, no nothing. There's a video going around. I'm not sure if I'm going to play it here because you've probably seen it by now, of them singing hymns, praying, very peaceful. It's like the most mild-mannered thing you could possibly imagine. This case harkens back to a couple years ago, maybe last year, when a woman in in the UK was arrested for praying on the other side of a street of an abortion clinic, and she was arrested for that. Even the UK, though, they let her go and end up making a public apology to her for that. In the US here now, we can't even do that. We are sentencing these people, and we don't know what the sentence will be yet, but they are expected to appeal their verdict, and we'll see how the sentencing goes. Those on trial, remember these names, included Chet Gallagher of Tennessee, Coleman Boyd of Mississippi, Heather Idenai of Michigan, Cal Zastra of Michigan, Paul Vaughn of Tennessee, and Dennis Green of my home state of Virginia. All 6 defendants were found guilty of both counts. They are expected to be sentenced in July. The conspiracy charge can be punished with up to 10.5 years in prison, 3 years of supervised release, fines of up to $260,000, while the FACE Act charge can lead to 1 year in prison and a $10,000 fine. The verdict was delivered on the 5th day of the trial, which took place at the Fred D. Thompson Courthouse. The case was overseen by Judge Alita Trauger, appointed to the court in 1998 by President Bill Clinton. This is, go figures, it was a Clinton judge, but the sad thing is that this is not unique to this particular judge, this particular case. The federal government has been doing stuff like this for years now. Consider the case of Mark Houck, who just a couple years ago, the federal government sent agents to bang down his door and break down his door in front of his wife and 7 kids, and they arrested him. Eventually, he ended up getting the charges dropped, but it's being very, very clear that the powers that be, both spiritual and literal might not be the word, established human powers here on earth, controlled by the spiritual powers that are, very clear that they're trying to send a message here. If you're a pro-lifer, you are not welcome in this country, really, and you certainly cannot voice your opinion. We talk about the slippery slope of first they demand you accept them, then they demand you include them, then they demand that you become one of them. Right now we're at demanding you include them, and pretty soon we're going to be at the slippery slope of where you have to also be pro-abortion, if we're not there already, which really we are, that you also have to be pro-abortion. Then they're going, the next final step will be they want you to be getting abortions. Look at China with their child control, the number of children you can have. It's destroying their country now. Their country is on the verge of collapse within the next generation or two because no one's having kids now, even though they now want people to have kids. They went on for too long with restricting the number of kids that you can have. Trust me, that's next in the U.S. If you don't think it is coming. So, it's just an extremely frustrating and sad case. And the important thing to remember, of course, is that this group, I believe, are all Christians. They at least all claim to be. I can't speak for them, but I believe they all claim to be Christians. They were singing songs, according to this, singing songs like Holy, 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 Armored Christian Soldiers. The local police, when I think the abortion clinic called the police on them, local police didn't charge them with anything. No, they did charge them with misdemeanor trespassing, is what happened, but very minor charges. Then the federal government, of course, comes in. The important thing to remember with all this, of course, is that the Lord is in control, as they know, and that the trials, as stated in the first chapter of James, are here to strengthen our faith, purify us, and the church as well. I'll read you a little bit here from the GiveSendGo set up by a friend of the family of Paul Vaughn, one of the people that was arrested. They are expected to appeal the conviction after his participation in a peaceful, life-affirming gathering at an abortion facility. The case of Paul Vaughn, a devout Christian father of 11, and several other pro-life advocates has drawn national attention in the wake of the Biden Department of Justice's virulent, I can't pronounce it, virulent, I'm trying, okay, I try to pronounce it. Here we are, I have a high school education, no college degree, so I can't pronounce the big words. It has drawn national attention in the wake of their prosecution of pro-life activists, which began months following the overturn of Roe v. Wade. And also, if you don't think this is revenge by the federal government on the Supreme Court for overturning Roe v. Wade, which, by the way, we have a Supreme Court which is not all that conservative. The only two reliable conservatives we have on there are Alito, Thomas. Gorsuch has been decent. Kavanaugh, sort of. Amy Coney Barrett has been incredibly unreliable. But the Roe v. Wade was their one big decision, that and NYSRPA versus Bruin, the gun rights case in New York. But all that to say, this is definitely revenge on them. Immediately following the guilty verdict, the pro-life defendants, along with family and friends, gathered in front of the courthouse to pray and sing hymns together. Convicted along with Vaughn were 5 other defendants, as we talked about. 4 remaining defendants are scheduled to subsequently stand trial for misdemeanor violations of the FACE Act. There's a lot more to it. What I'm going to do, this is from their GiveSendGo page. I'm going to link to their GiveSendGo page in the description. They're trying to raise $100,000. So far, they've raised just short of $30,000. Legal fees are incredibly expensive, and you can't just go appeal a decision. It's very expensive. And so if you feel led to donate to them, I think that'd be a great thing to do. All that to say, Why am I reporting on this story? It's because, one, to motivate you. Listen, I'm not a big Donald Trump fan at all. I mean, I'm not a big Donald Trump fan. I'll be voting for Ron DeSantis in the primary, March 5th here in Virginia. But come the general election season, we need to support Trump. And listen, if you're an independent, if you're a Republican that just doesn't like him, if you're a Democrat watching this, which I can't imagine you are, but if you are, we need to support him. I know the man is morally reprehensible. So is Joe Biden, and much worse. He's not the most conservative. I understand that. He's mean. I understand that. He says a lot of stuff that doesn't make a lot of sense. I understand that. But at some point, you've got to choose the lesser of two evils. Donald Trump or Joe Biden. Biden's Department of Justice, which is now actively trying to prosecute and throw peaceful pro-lifers in jail. If you participate in the March for Life, if you've ever peacefully protested at an abortion clinic, handed out materials on election day, something like that, they are going to come for you. And until we fight them on this, they're not going to stop. So far, there's just been little resistance to it at all. And it's time for civil disobedience. And it's not, I think there's a perfectly biblical case for it, that is, because our supreme law of the land is the U.S. Constitution, not the president, not the Department of Justice. And when they're violating the Constitution, we do not have an obligation to obey them. So, all that to say, keep this in mind. If you would, I would highly recommend sharing this video, sharing this story, even if not this video, finding an article about it, sharing this story about the family, about the different pro-lifers that have been convicted by the evil Department of Justice and the evil Joe Biden. And you've got to, if you evangelicals have a really bad track record in recent memory, if they do not rally together and they do not come out in force to vote this November and also protest and also engage in civil disobedience, because just voting is not going to cut it, folks. Ultimately, we know, based on Revelation, the book of Revelation, how things are going to end. But as long as we can keep our country together, we need to do it, and that's what I'm here to do, to motivate you. Thank you for watching, folks. Don't forget to go www.fightandrevive.com. Check out the new site. Hope you'll keep up to date with me there. I've got a lot of good content coming, and if you'd support it, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, share this story with someone you know. Thanks for watching or listening to Fight and Revive with Adam Boyer. As this video wraps up, I'll give you something else to look at other than me and my ironically colored blue laptop, because there should be appearing right now, if I do remember to put it up, there should be a subscribe button appearing right here on the screen, and a video and perhaps a playlist appearing on the other side of me. Maybe it's the other side, maybe they're switched, who knows? It just depends on the video. We'll see. We're already being shadow banned on YouTube. We're not catching videos in the algorithm because they don't want small conservative creators to start to grow and build following. So if you would subscribe to the channel and click around some of the other stuff on the channel, that would be great. Very appreciated. Thanks for watching.